Today, on episode 132 of Sales Team Rescue, I interview Navid Momeni and dig into one, how to become a sales master, and two, the number one reason why you're missing your quota. Hit the music. I'm Sales Team Turnaround Specialist Jeremy DeMerchant, and each week I bring sales leaders like you, experts and insights that will help you level up your leadership, motivate like a master, and ultimately crush your comp plan. If it's time to raise the bar on your team's performance, then it's time for Sales Team Rescue. Welcome to Sales Team Rescue. This is episode number 132. I'm your host, Jeremy DeMerchant, and today I have another special guest. Navid Momeni is the CEO of Sales Guru Global, and he's also the best-selling author of, and I love this title, How to Become a Sales Master. So, Navid, welcome to Sales Team Rescue.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited
I'm excited to chat with you.
For a long time, so this is a great opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure, and I'm excited because you've got a lot of cool things going on. We're going to talk about a big project that's making a big impact, but we'll get to that in a minute. But first, tell us a little bit about what you do currently and what got you there.
Yes, absolutely. So currently, I have a sales consulting company called Sales Group Global, and also in the meantime, I also manage a sales team at a company called D2L, which is number one LMS provider in the world, and also I'm an advisor for 8 startups, and I also do some on the side some seminars at colleges and universities, and all sales related. So anything that is sales related, that's me. And I'm working on a couple of very interesting and exciting projects for the future, all again sales related. But
Gotcha. So, nothing big going on, pretty relaxed schedule. You're just running all over the place helping people with sales. I love it. And you're a fellow Canadian, right? You're based in Toronto, which is great.
Yes.
We're a short 15-hour drive away at the moment. So we're basically neighbors in Canada, right?
Yes, we are. Yeah, based out of Toronto, and I moved to Toronto 16 years ago.
Wow. Gotcha. And where did you move from?
I moved from Iran. There was a short period that I lived in different countries, but mainly I moved from Iran, and 4th of August 2006. Yeah, so my 16th anniversary is coming soon, and Canada is home.
Congratulations.
Toronto is home.
Yes, well, we are glad to have you for sure. So
thank you.
So I was going through your website. I took a look at what you're doing, and I'm just gonna kind of, I'm not gonna bury the lead here any longer. You've got this killer book that I'm super excited about. Yes, you're a sales master or, sales guru, but bam, look, How to Become a Sales Master, the book,
right,
which I can say is sitting on my Kindle right now. But tell me, who is the book for? Who is the person that can benefit the most, or the people that can benefit most from this book?
So this book, I started writing this book almost 5 years ago. Yes, some people say, "Oh, it took you only 5 years," and I tell them I know I'm a slow typer. But this book is for anyone who wants to get into the sales industry, and anyone who's already in the sales industry, from business development representatives or sales development representatives, to account executives, to sales managers, to director of sales, to VP of sales, to CSOs, chief sales officers. No matter how many years of experience you have in sales, it's 17 chapters, and the first 11, 12 chapters is focusing on mostly for BDRs, SDRs, account executives, sales executives, and the final 5, 6 chapters focus on sales managers and director of sales and VP of sales, on topics like how to run your basically pipeline reviews, your one-on-ones, how to hire top talents, how to retain top talents, and for the business development representatives or account executives or sales executives, It's about how to do prospecting, how to handle objections, how to how to do your qualification calls, your discovery calls, and there are lots of great techniques and tips that I share in the book. And I promise, and so far, based on the reviews that I've received, and based on the fact that the book has been in, number one seller in three different categories on Amazon. I feel, no matter how much knowledge you have in sales, I promise you, if you read it, it would add so much value to your daily process, to your sales process, and yeah, it's a great book, not because I wrote it. That's what are telling me.
Well, and I'll say, and I'll mention, like, go get it. We're going to put some links. Actually, let me grab the links right now. We're going to put them in the chat if you're watching live on our Facebook Live. If you are listening on the podcast, check it out in the show notes. If you are viewing on YouTube, it will also be in the description. But I'm going to post the two links right to Amazon where you can go grab this bad boy once I grab the chat. Give me just a moment. See, this is why we don't do this live, because then I take too long. Is that it? Yeah. Boom. Okay. So we've got the comments there. Go check it out. I will tell you this: if you are a Kindle lover, you've got Kindle Unlimited. It's actually included in Kindle Unlimited, so it's not a cost. If you're someone that's investing in Kindle to support your knowledge and growth, then take advantage of it. I jumped on, I looked at it, bam, to the Kindle, bada boom, bada bing. Let's go change my sales life. Done. So, Navid, I got to ask you, do you think the one major thing that you look at differently than most typical sales gurus, or is different than the typical sales advice that somebody might be getting?
Uh, one thing that I always tell people is, for me, at the end of the day, I look at salespeople as like doctors,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the reason for that is I shared this story with someone. I mean, first I said I think salespeople are doctors, and somebody told me, "Come on, like the doctors, they have to go through years and years of studying." And I'm like, "Yeah, don't get me wrong, I already know it. My father is a doctor himself." But the reason that I say that is because this is what I believe, right? Um, Average salespeople, they usually listen to respond,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the best salespeople, they listen to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing for the doctors. The best doctors, they try to usually listen at the beginning, when you go to them, to understand about what exactly is going on with that specific patient, versus just listening to what the patient is saying about the problems that they think they are having. And I use an example that it was, I think, 2014. I was sitting with a couple of my colleagues in our lunchroom, and I was having food, and out of nowhere, I realized I couldn't swallow my food, right? And it happened once, it happened the second times, it happened the third times, and then at that point, I'm like, oh, it's not about me choking, on the food. It's about something's wrong with my throat, right? And I stopped eating my lunch, and at nighttime when I went home, I said, you know what, let me give it a try. I tried to eat again, and boom, same thing happened. I'm like, there's definitely something's wrong, with my throat, right? So like I got the earliest appointment a couple days after, and in the meantime, I purchased all these medicines that helps you to relax your throat and all these stuff, and watch all these videos on YouTube. And long story short, when I went to my doctor, she said, why are you here? And I said, hey, can you please give me some medications for my throat, right? And she goes, why is that? And I said, I feel, something's wrong, maybe swallowing or anything, because I can't swallow food. And she was like, let's take a step back. So she asked me like 7, 8 questions, how often do you get this feeling? When did it start? What's the feeling when you eat? What's the feeling when you drink? And all of these things. And then she sent me to do this dysphagia test, and endoscopy, and ultrasound. And she came back to me and she said, you know what, the problem is not what you think it is. It's not your throat. I said, so what is it? And she goes, you got gastritis and acid reflux. And that's the main reason that you're having that issue, right? So the advice that I tell, my reps, my team, and, the salespeople out there, you cannot rely solely based on what you hear from your prospects. You have to actually, uh, go deep into their business and try to understand what is the real root cause and the reason that you're dealing with this problem A, B, C, D. And this is what something that many salespeople are missing today. They miss lots of cues in their discovery calls, which to me discovery calls basically they are the most important part of the sales process. That's the part that I believe the sales is being done, right? That's the part that is a do or die. And they say, Mr. Customer, what are some of the problems you are having today? And the customer says what are the problems are, and they just write it down, right? And they move on. And when they come to me, sometimes I tell my reps that no, this is not something's missing here. This is not it. You should have asked this. You should have asked that. Did you ask this? Did you ask that? Right? And even they say, oh yeah, you're right. I think something's missing, right? So I tell people, and that's the best advice that I can give them is be that doctor, that good doctor, that best doctor, versus just trying to listen to your prospects and respond immediately. Try to actually understand your prospects, point A where they are today, point B where they want to be in the future, and show them exactly as a professional salesperson, as a professional consultant, how exactly you can help them to get to point B, which in my book I talk about point C as well, which is once you reach to that point B, or some people say that future state, now my plan is to help you to maintain that success. My plan is to make sure that you are not going back to your old habits, right? And that's how we will continue to that point C, making sure that you will continue and you will deliver that success.
I love it. I love it. So, because yeah, really, and I agree 100%. If you're just asking questions for the purpose of responding, you're not actually analyzing. You're not being the professional advisor and actually showing them that you're an expert at what we're talking about. Then you're just an order taker. And in most
Absolutely.
cases, you probably don't deserve to be paid the commission on the sales that you make, because
100%.
they're just they're the easy ones, right? Now,
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic, and the fact that you don't just let people say, "Okay, this is what you do next," but you're saying, "Hey, once you get there, you've got that brass ring, you've got that golden, that trophy, whatever you want to achieve there. You're at the top of the mountain. Here's how you stay there. You don't
Yeah.
not start slipping back down, right? Because it's one thing to get there; it's a whole other thing to stay there. You're doing something phenomenal that's going to make a big impact with the proceeds of your book. Tell us about that.
Yes. Working with one of my basic connections on LinkedIn, and he's Ukrainian, and I have 5 6 Ukrainian friends here that their families are heavily impacted by the war in Ukraine, and all the proceeds go to a charity that helps Ukrainian people.
Amazing, amazing, and I think it's such a good cause. And in like with my beard balm business, which the people are listening, listen to me regularly. They know I have got a beard balm business. We make it a point to support men's mental health. But I think it's so important that we give back. Like the idea is that we're here and we got to support each other, right? We all go through tough times. Obviously, there's very little that's as extreme or horrible as what's going on in Ukraine right now. But the fact that you're doing that, I think, is phenomenal. And we're just gonna call it one more reason for people to go check out the book on Amazon.com, Amazon.ca. Let me repost those links since we're in a new feed here. See if they roll up nicely. Excellent. So, guys, check that out. Amazon in Canada, US. I mean, you can also click and find it anywhere in the world, I'm sure. But check it out. And I think that the content in your book is going to be something that helps anybody that wants to get better at sales, or even going beyond just being the salesperson. So that's phenomenal. Now let's talk a little bit about your website. Now I've got it pulled up here, and I love your mission, but I'm not going to read it off your site. I want you to tell us what this mission is. Now, you don't have to read it verbatim either. No one's going to go back and test. Well, I mean, maybe someone's going to go back and check the website to see if you're bang on. But you talk about your mission on the core of your website. Give us the gist. Like, what's the driving for? Obviously, you're a great guy. you do phenomenal things in sales, and you're supporting a great cause as well with the proceeds of your book, which is amazing. Um, but tell us a little bit about what the why is for you behind your business and what you do.
Right. For me, the biggest why is, to make sure that, when we say when you're in sales, when you're a real salesperson, sales professional, you have to deliver value in every interaction that you have with your prospects, with your customers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my why is to do the same thing, but not only with my prospects and with my customers, but also for all the salespeople out there, right? Um, it's heartbreaking for me when I see there are lots of uh, fake sales, uh, people out there, and I blame it on some of these, sales movies like Wolf of Wall Street and all that. But I don't want to mention all of those movies that people they who want to get into sales or they just get into sales, they watch these movies and they think that's what selling means. And there are, don't get me wrong, like I've seen organizations that they push their salespeople to sell their products and services no matter what, if the
Mm-hmm.
prospect needs it or not. So for me, my why is to remove that, and my why is to actually help salespeople to learn how to obviously hit their numbers and crush their quotas and all that. But at the end of the day, when they go home, they feel good about what they did that day. They actually hear from the customers going back to them and say, "Hey, you know what? Thanks for your products and your services, we were able to achieve this, right?" For them, to actually learn what it means to help, right? And that's why I say, I so many times tell people, salespeople, selling or helping, you decide, right? And I want to make sure that when people read my book, when they come to me and ask me for my services, uh, they and I see this daily that some of my mentees, some of my students, some of my clients, they come back to me, they said, Navid, thank you so much for what you did. I was able, to crush my number. We were able to get into this new market. We were able, retain top talents in our company. We were able, to increase our, revenue by, this percentage, right? So it's important because, sometimes I talk to salespeople. There was this person that I interviewed a while ago that he was very honest in the interview, and he said he got let go from his previous company, and he said, you know what, like I didn't perform well, blah blah blah. And I said, you know what, thank you so much for your honesty, because 99% of people don't say that, right? I want to ask him, hey, why do you think is the reason? And he said, honestly, I think some of these salespeople that I listen to on Instagram and Facebook, and I asked, can you share with me a couple of names? And the names that he shared with me, there are people that they have millions of followers,
Yeah.
right? It's absolutely, and I know a few of them, but absolutely no substance in what they say. Some awful, horrible, advices to people, and some people fall for it. And you want to make 6 figures in 2 months, download my course, it's $10,000 and all that, and they fall for it.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what happens? It affects their mental health. It affects their life. They lose their job. And for me, again, back to your question, my why is, I want to make sure when people read my book, when people, sit down, listen to this podcast, when people come to me, listen to, things that I've learned, which, by the way, I owe everything that I've learned to all the amazing mentors that I have had throughout my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like me just talking nonsense. No, these are the things that I learned that I apply in my sales life
Mm-hmm.
and sales careers, and that's helping to get to this point, which still have a long way to go. And I always say, I'm not an expert. The moment you say you're an expert, you stop learning, and that's awful.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually pass this knowledge to them, to all the salespeople out there, so they can actually make a difference in their customers' life. They can actually hear all those positive reviews and success stories from their customers.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the hard sell. I think that if you're selling people or selling something to people that don't need it, then you're completely ruining the industry of sales. And
Absolutely.
there's a reason why when we're growing up, we don't say, "Hey, I want to be a salesperson when I grow up." No kid says that. Why? Because it's not something that's
Yeah.
looked upon as like heroic. But day after day, week after week, sales professionals all over the world put what they want to achieve aside to help other people achieve their goals, right? They work with them, they help identify their challenges to help them overcome them so that they can make progress in their personal and business lives, and often get paid very well for it. But it
Right.
starts by providing the service and making sure that we're doing something good for the rest of the world. And I think it was Zig Ziglar that said, if you want to, what is it? Something to the effect of, you'll have everything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want in life.
Exactly.
And I think that's the best mantra I've ever heard for sales. So real quick, I want to jump into what we call the lightning round. So I'm going to hit you with 4 quick questions, okay? So question number 1, not to play on the whole reference to movies that give sales a bad name, but we all know that coffee's for closers. What's your favorite coffee or comparable drink?
Favorite coffee, comparable drink. Honestly, I don't drink coffee,
Okay.
but I like chai tea latte
Mm-hmm.
from Starbucks or cinnamon dolce latte from
Ah,
Starbucks.
gotcha. We got fancy guy from Toronto here. Oh, I'm just kidding. I can't compete with my black McDonald's K cup here.
That's a good one too. I've never tried it, but that's a good one too.
I should get them to pay me for saying it on the show. Anyway, question number 2: what's one book or movie that you would recommend to a sales professional or sales leader?
One book or one movie. Sales movies, you mean?
It can be anything, but something that would help somebody in sales. It doesn't have to be about sales.
Well, for the book, actually, you know what? I'll go with the book. You know, for a good friend of mine, Keenan, Gap Selling. I would go with that one. I would definitely, encourage salespeople to follow him and to read his book.
Beautiful, awesome. All right, now who is somebody in your life that you would consider a mentor?
Oh, I'm lucky that I have some amazing mentors, but I think the name that comes to my mind right now it would be Ilana Palmer. She's one of my first uh, sales leaders, and till this day, her and I we have a very close relationship. I give her a big shout out in my book. I would go with her.
Amazing, amazing. And final question: what is the strangest thing you do in your daily routine to keep you on your game?
I wouldn't say strangest. Some people say waking up at 3:30 a.m. Uh, it's not a great thing to do. So I usually wake up at 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m. and have this daily routine of working out and weight training and jog and meditation and all that. So I
Wow.
would go for it. But it's not strange. Like I wake up at 3:30. Then I see there are guys, like Mark Wahlberg. Apparently he wakes up at 2:30 or
I mean, yeah,
there's
you're if you say
right,
3:30 is not strange. I mean, unless you're The Rock or you're Mark Wahlberg, not many people are getting up at 3:30 unless they're working a night shift or something, you know.
right.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's awesome. Now, I'm curious. I know we're running out of time, but really quick, how important is your morning routine to your success? Do you think?
Oh, it's super important. I mean, for me, I have to do that workout. I have to, that's my way to release stress. And I have to do my meditation, and it put me ahead of other people by 4 or 5 hours, because then I can stop work at 6:37 a.m. So I get
Love
a
it.
lot done throughout the day, right? So it helps me a lot. It's something that I learned from my father, because he's a doctor, but also he was an army guy, and I always remember he used to wake up at 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m. And sometimes I'm like, why? That's the time that I go to sleep when I was younger.
Yeah.
But now I just, I go based on this routine, and, discipline is very important.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Navid, for being here. Guys, make sure you go check out How to Become a Sales Master on Amazon. Also, be sure to check out Navid's site at salesguruglobal.com. Yeah, .com.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, salesguruglobal.com. And thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure having you as a guest. And I just want to give a shout out, guys. If you want to see the recording of this episode or previous episodes, go to salesteamrescue.com. And if you are ready for a sales team review. You can book that as well at salesteamrescue.com. Again, Navid, thank you so much. Guys, this has been episode 132 of Sales Team Rescue. Remember, get uncomfortable, get results, and we'll see you next week. Cheers. Thanks for joining me. Let's keep the conversation going. You can find more episodes and a link to join our online community over at salesteamrescue.com. If you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe and give the show a review to help us reach more sales leaders like you. If you'd like our support in creating your own high-performance sales team, book a call with us at salesteamrescue.com.